The envelope was stiff and important. It sat in the mail with a coupon and a water bill, but it was the only one that felt heavy. It was my 34th birthday. Not a big deal. I didn't expect much, maybe a card if they remembered, maybe not. But something about that envelope made me stop. The return address was from my parents. For a moment, I thought, maybe this time. I took it inside, put it on the kitchen counter next to the flowers my assistant sent me, sat down, and slowly opened it. No handwriting, no card, just one printed page. It said, "After careful thought, we have changed our estate plans. All the things left will go to Lily Monroe and her children. Given your situation, we trust you understand." Just 3 lines. No dear, no love, no signature. Only one word at the bottom. Regards, not love, not even mom and dad. Just regards. I stared at the paper longer than I wanted. My coffee got cold. Outside my window, the city moved. Cars, bikes, construction sounds, but I couldn't hear any of it. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't anger. It was proof that what I had started to believe was true. I was no longer part of the family, at least not the part that mattered. But what hit me even more was the timing. They sent it on my birthday, not a day before or after, on the exact day they once said was the best day of their lives. Had they forgotten that? Or did they remember and send it anyway? I wasn't always the forgotten child. When I was little, I was the responsible one, the big helper, the one who held the diaper bag and reminded Dad not to leave the stove on. By age 10, I could cook 3 meals. By 12, I walked Lily to preschool, fixed her shoelaces when they came undone, braided her hair because Mom wasn't good at those things. Lily was the baby. Soft curls, soft stories. When she cried, everything stopped. When I cried, I was told I was being too dramatic. At school events, Mom always made a scene with Lily in the middle while I stood on the side holding someone's coat. Even our birthdays told the story. Hers had unicorns, dolphins, and rented ponies. Mine? A frozen cake from the store, sometimes 2 days late. I used to think maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I wasn't lovable in the same way, but Grandma Eloise never made me wonder. She lived 3 blocks away in a small blue house with a cracked porch swing and a cookie jar that was always full. She didn't have much, but she shared what she had without drama. Books, stories, time. She taught me how to balance a checkbook before high school, how to fix a dripping faucet, how to breathe when it felt like no one saw me. When she got sick with lung cancer, slow and cruel, I was 16, Mom couldn't handle hospitals. Dad worked late, so I went every day. I changed her sheets, learned her medicine schedule, sat through appointments. Lily came once, sat in a corner, took a photo, then left early. When Grandma passed, I was the one who found her will, hidden inside. A copy of Little Women. She left her house to me, her car, a small savings account, and a note. You were the one who stayed. Not because you had to, because you saw me. It wasn't about money. It never was. It was the first time someone chose me out loud. At the funeral, people whispered. Mom looked sour. Lily, dressed in white lace and heavy makeup, barely looked at anyone. Later that week, Lily pulled me aside. I know you got the house, she said, flipping her hair like Mom when she's nervous. But I'm kind of stuck. My rent's a mess. Can I crash here for a bit? She moved in that weekend, stayed 6 months, never paid rent, used my shampoo, my groceries, my car when I wasn't looking. When she left, she didn't say thank you. She just disappeared. 3 years later, she told people I took advantage of Grandma. She said it was weird that I inherited everything, that I tricked an old woman for her property. I never argued or confronted her, because by then I understood something colder than silence. They weren't forgetting me. They were rewriting me. But I still wonder, Did Lily remember those nights I made her soup when she was sick? Did she remember who held her through the thunder when Mom left the windows open? Or did none of that matter anymore? After Lily left, I started locking my doors. Not just the front door, the invisible ones too. No more family chats. No more, "Can you check this lease?" Or "Can I stay till payday?" I moved to a small one-bedroom condo near the university where I taught night classes. Mostly sociology, the kind people take because they have to, not because they care. But I cared. I cared about patterns, systems, how people repeat mistakes they want to escape. I saved money slowly, took on consulting jobs, said yes to the work no one else wanted, holiday shifts, late-night Zoom meetings, curriculum audits, quiet work, but it paid. And in 4 years, I saved enough to start something that felt mine. A nonprofit called Third Circle Education. We taught life skills workshops for teen girls leaving foster care, how to read a lease, spot bad loans, write a resume without lying. The girls came in guarded but left stronger. When people asked what inspired me, I never said my family, but I always thought of Grandma Eloise and how the people who need the most help learn to ask for the least. Then the article came. A local reporter, quiet and thoughtful, came to one of our sessions. She wrote an article about me. She called me a quiet engine of change. The headline got shared more times than I expected. It reached old classmates, my former teachers, even my parents. 2 weeks later, I noticed something strange. I was gone from Lily's Instagram. Not just blocked, erased. Family wedding photos were cropped, childhood pictures reposted with changed captions. One said, "Just me and my guardian angels," under a photo where I had once stood between Lily and Mom. At first, I thought it was a glitch, like a computer mistake. But then I saw an old photo from my college graduation, the one I had framed, for Dad. In the new version, I wasn't there. Someone had cut me out with scissors and taped the picture back together. No caption. Just a photo hanging in Lily's kitchen, shown in a video tour when she moved into her dream house. I recognized the frame. I had bought it. I didn't cry, but I stared at that empty space longer than I should have, and I wondered, when they rewrite the story, do they ever stop to ask who paid for the first chapter? It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon, cold sandwich on my desk. I was working on Grant. Proposals when someone knocked. 3 quick taps, then silence. I wasn't expecting anyone. Most people call or text first. When I opened the door, there they were. My mom, my sister, and a man I didn't know. Mid-40s, nice coat, wedding band. Lily's new husband, I learned later. They looked perfect. Hair, clothes, fake smiles. "Rachel," Mom said, her voice soft but strange. "As a family, we thought it was time." Time for what? They didn't say. They just came in, like it was still their right. They sat in my living room. Lily curled into the corner of my couch like she did in high school, except now in heels, full makeup, like a woman pretending to be a girl she barely remembered. Her husband said nothing, just nodded politely like he was told to stay quiet. Mom started with compliments. How proud she was. How she always knew I'd do something important. How she showed the article to people at church. Then came the request. Lily and her husband started a business, real estate marketing. It sounded promising, but they needed startup money. The bank wouldn't give them the full loan without a cosigner, someone trustworthy, with a good record. They wanted me to be that person. Just on paper, maybe for a year or less. "I know things have been tense," Mom said, eyes wide. "But family finds its way back, right?" Lily didn't say a word. She looked down at her hands like she used to before telling a lie. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just stood there watching them sit on my couch. I bought a home I built, asking for trust they never earned. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and brought it to the table without saying a word. Lily finally looked up. "I just thought you'd understand," she whispered. Her voice cracked, but her makeup didn't. I thought about listing every time she didn't understand me. Every time she left, erased, rewrote. But I just stared at the water and waited for it to calm. They didn't stay long. They didn't finish their pitch. They didn't finish the water. The door clicked shut behind them with a quiet sound heavier than a slam. I stood in the silence. They left and wondered, did they really think I wouldn't remember? This time, the envelope wasn't certified. It was hand-delivered. Thicker, colder. A legal complaint. They were suing me, my own family. The charge was unjust enrichment. They said I used trickery to get Grandma Eloise's house and money, that I manipulated her, kept them out, that Lily was the true heir. But I stopped her. It read like a story where I was the villain, and Lily was the sad granddaughter, too kind to speak up until now. I sat with the papers for hours, didn't call anyone, didn't cry. Opened my filing cabinet and pulled out a folder I kept for 15 years. Medical records, handwritten notes, photos of me and Grandma in her garden during chemo. Christmas cards I signed for her when her hands shook too much to hold a pen. And the will, official, stamped by the court on the day Grandma died. I didn't need to defend myself, but I would. My lawyer was a former student, Elena Ruiz. Smart, steady, she had written a whole dissertation about power fights over inheritance. When I showed her the complaint, she didn't even blink. "We've seen this before," she said, "but they made a big mistake." I raised an eyebrow. Elena smiled a little. They submitted fake evidence. Lily forged documents, emails pretending to be from Grandma, notes that didn't match her handwriting. Even a draft of a new will dated 2 weeks after Grandma died. They didn't check the hospice logs. Grandma was unconscious then. We didn't fight back loudly. We just quietly showed proof, point by point. When the day came for questions, Lily showed up wearing pearls and a black blazer, like it was a family brunch. Mom sat beside her, pale but calm. I didn't talk much. I didn't have to. Elena did. Calm, careful, like someone who waited her whole career for a case like this. Lily stumbled when asked about dates, changed her story, changed it again. By noon, her lawyer asked for a break. By 2 p.m., they wanted to settle. Elena said no, she wanted it on record. 2 weeks later, the judge threw out the case, called it a mean and silly attempt to change the truth. In court, it was a win. But in family, there's no word for it. Mom never called. Dad didn't either. But someone sent me a screenshot. Lily posted a story. A close-up of her tear-streaked face. The caption said, "Some people will do anything for money, even lie about their own blood." No names, but everyone knew. I turned off my phone for 3 days. When I finally turned my phone back on, there was one voicemail from Lily. Her voice was tight, controlled. "I hope you're happy. You ruined everything. Mom won't speak to me. Our investors pulled out. We had to close the office. I needed you." Then silence. Not a question. Not an apology. Just a sentence. "I needed you." As if needing someone once gives you the right to hurt them again and again. I didn't delete the voicemail, but I never listened to it again. By then, I understood the deepest truth. They didn't turn against me because I failed them. They turned against me because I didn't. The second time they came, they didn't knock. They called my father. After almost 7 years of silence, his voice was clipped, not angry, just strained. "Things got out of hand," he said. "Your sister regrets a lot. So do we. The lawsuit was unfortunate, but we're family. Families survive worse." I didn't answer right away. I waited. Let the silence sort itself out. Finally, he cleared his throat. We'd like to invite you to a gathering. Your cousin Grant is getting married. Big celebration. Lots of people. It would mean something if you showed up. I almost laughed, not because I was cruel, but because it was absurd. They wanted me there, not to heal, not for reconciliation, for optics, because now my name meant something. The nonprofit had grown. Third Circle was in 3 states. We partnered with a National Women's Leadership Fund. My face was on the cover of a regional magazine, from Forgotten to Force. They didn't want me. They wanted her, the version of me that made them look good by association. I politely declined. A week later, Aunt Mara called. She'd always been kind, in a distant, teacup-rattling way. She said she understood why I was hurt, said what Lily did was inexcusable. Then softly, "But maybe it's time to let it go, sweetheart. People are watching. Weddings are about joy. Don't bring the past into it." That was the line. Don't bring the past into it. As if the past was a purse I could choose not to carry. As if they hadn't spilled it across the room and walked away. I didn't respond, didn't go, didn't post. That Saturday, when wedding photos flooded social media, sunlight, champagne, a rented garden, I stayed inside, lit a candle, read one of Grandma's old paperbacks. When the doorbell rang just after dusk, I looked through the peephole. It was Lily, alone, no makeup. Hair back, eyes red. She didn't say anything, just stood there waiting. I turned off the porch light. Let the night answer for me. Lily never tried a third time. After that night on the porch, she didn't text, call, or email any long apology. She disappeared into her world of curated reels and mid-morning yoga, and I stayed in mine. Not out of bitterness, just clarity. I no longer needed to be seen by them. I only needed to stop being rewritten. The silence that followed wasn't loud. It was exact. It filled only the space they used to take up. No more, no less. When people asked old friends, former neighbors, the ones who never quite knew what happened, I kept it simple. They chose a version of me that was easier to delete. Sometimes they pressed, "What do you mean?" I'd just say, "I was there." That ended the conversation. No one had a reply because the truth doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to be proven or paraded. It just needs to be said once. I didn't write them off, didn't post, didn't burn photos or mail back old cards. I let it all stay where it was. In drawers, in old inboxes, in the quiet part of the house I no longer opened. Some memories don't need closure, just boundaries. And that was enough. Last spring, I repainted the hallway, soft gray, clean, calm. I took down the photos, all of them, not in anger, just necessity. Dust had settled behind the frames, time had moved ahead of them. There was one I almost left. A candid shot of Grandma Eloise and me sitting on her porch swing with mismatched mugs of tea. No poses, no edits, just presence. But when I lifted the frame, I noticed something behind it, tucked flat against the wall. A second photo, folded, torn at the edges. It was from my college graduation, the full version. Me in the center, arms around Lily and Mom. Before they cut me out, someone had hidden it there. Maybe me. Maybe not. I slid the torn photo out from behind the glass, didn't put it back, didn't throw it away, left the frame empty, hung it back in place. Not to mourn what was missing, but to remind myself, what's gone doesn't need to be filled. It just needs to be named once, quietly, and then left alone. If they once erased your face from the picture, did you ever hang the frame back?